All right, our second question for this evening comes from Save Sana on Twitter, and he asks, "How far ahead have you guys had to plan for your shows when it comes to storylines?" So, more of a car-based question, if you will. So, storylines. How long have we planned in advance? We've done this together.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I,
I know.
I'm,
Go.
I mean, listen. Let's be frank. Years,
Yeah,
literal years.
definitely
So,
is.
so I would like. We're talking about. Okay, we know. So after Anniversary 3 was done, we were talking about the main event of Anniversary 4 and the matches that were going to co-main event it. When it comes to the lower card, no, it didn't take years. We took a bit, I think, we were going into the second pay-per-view with a Survival or maybe even Cyber Fam Day, and then we book and look into the other match cards because again, back in those days, we even had more members jumping into the roster between periods. So we couldn't, exactly begin to come up with all the match cards for the pay per view, especially anniversary. We could even book who was going to, be entering the Rumble at what stage and whatnot. So, there's a lot of planning and a lot of in between plannings. But as I alluded to earlier, anniversary main events, yes, years, definitely years at least.
Yeah. I always, when it came to booking shows, I always like to describe the initial planning process as you were building the skeleton of the plans. You would build up the bones of the idea, sort of the so with that, then you would have the place where you want to end up, the match that you end up with, whoever wins that match. That's usually one of the key details that you have there in your skeleton, and then you have other things within the skeleton, such as key moments throughout the story, any betrayals, any people teaming up, any big returns. All those things are part of the skeleton, and then the sort of flesh of the entire process, the flesh of the story, that usually gets added on as you are telling the story, if you will, as those shows are coming out, as those pay-per-views are coming out. Um, how the matches look, the what moves are hit during the match, what are the big finishes to those matches, what extra things are you gonna do to add drama to these moments. That's the flesh, and that usually comes closer to the time that these things are gonna happen in the individual planning for the pay-per-views. But yeah, we would always have a skeleton, and like Rom said, after Anniversary 3, we had a skeleton in plan leading all the way up to Anniversary 4. We even had skeletons in place for things past Anniversary 4, sort of ideas that we had in place for Anniversary 5, or I've spoken openly about it on my streams a lot of times, but our original main event plan for Anniversary 5 initially was going to be Cameron Bash versus BH in a Hell in a Cell. So you get an idea there how far ahead that we plan these things. And another thing as well is that's a planning side of things, but you also have many situations where you could introduce an element or a character or have a moment somewhere along the line, whether it be just talking on the timeline for FaM example, something might have happened at Extreme Rules 2014, for example, and there might be an idea and be like, hey, actually, there's a cool way we can bring that into the present day and have the events that happen there affect these characters today, 6 years later. And while that isn't necessarily a plan, having those breadcrumbs there from way back when to sort of build stories in the present day, it makes you look like you've had a plan all along, and I just think it leads itself to good storytelling.
Yeah, foreshadowing, and I love it. Planting the seeds and foreshadowing is always like a big aspect, even if the seeds were not intentionally planted, but we're gonna use them as seeds, like you pointed out. Yeah, that's great. That goes with everything, honestly. That not just wrestling or car. That just goes with every drama, every TV show, every movie. I guarantee you, when they made Captain America and they had Red Skull pop out from the sky, at Endgame, they weren't planning for him to being like a gatekeeper of some sort. I guarantee you that. So,
Yeah.
they just used that, and then continued it afterwards as like, oh, we had a plan all along. This is where he was. Like, nah, man, we know what you did. Trust me, we know. But it's cool that you did it. Like, as well as the Fast and Furious. I don't know if you watched them, Cam, but How's That at Tokyo Drift, quote unquote, was done by I forgot, but Shaw. I don't know if it's Sam Shaw, but the freaking character played by I forgot. God dang, but
Charles
one of the bald
Rock,
guys,
right? Was it
no,
Jason
no,
Statham?
that's Jason Statham. Jason Statham. So Ha was killed by Jason Statham, one of the Shaw brothers, and I can guarantee you that wasn't the plan. Tokyo Drift was freaking recorded back in 2005, and Fast and Furious 6 or 7, I forgot what part Jason Statham was there, but it was recorded 10 years later. And I doubt the writer said, oh yeah, this is what we had planned all along 10 years ago. How was killed by Jason Statham character, who was never introduced to begin with. Like, nah, trust me. They just make the whole thing seem like it was all connected, but originally, we had no idea. So there you go.
Yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, storylines, if you want them to be good, you want them planned out, and just sort of with what we do here on YouTube, production usually takes a little bit longer than it would otherwise do in real life. So to add the best storylines, if you want to write it all as one thing, not individual pieces, make it up as you go along, because then you're not going to have coherent sort of themes running throughout the entire thing. But yeah, just because of the nature of how long things take, you will plan a storyline out, and then just naturally it might not happen till 3 years later. But yeah, it's just one of those things. But yeah, you want good storylines, plan them out, kids.
There you go. That's simple. Just have your structure and have a game plan which everyone agrees upon, and that's it. Maybe add elements later, but that's it. Years, man. It's patience. It's years. Just because I think of something, it's gonna happen next show. It's not gonna happen.